Life 3.5 million years ago was a terrifying yet magnificent place. The plains and forests of Africa were full of life, but along with this life, the shadows of death always hovered around the earliest ancestors of humans. At that time, the humans, whom we now know as Homo habilis, were still at the very beginning of their evolutionary journey. They had no iron weapons, no agricultural knowledge, no strong settlements. Just a few sharp stones, wooden sticks, and a spark of intelligence were their only wealth. Yet inside their chests burned the fire of hunger and the desperate desire to survive, so powerful that they were ready to face any danger. One day, this hunger brought them face to face with one of the most dangerous animals of that world, a gigantic wild bison, which we today call the Giant Forest Bison. The tribe had been starving for days. Fruits and roots were no longer enough to fill their stomachs. Children were crying, women had become weak, and even on the faces of the hunters, shadows of despair had begun to appear. But the chief did not lose courage. He saw deep marks on the ground, huge hoof prints that had crushed the soil, broken bushes, and tall stalks of grass lying snapped. All these signs showed that a mighty bison had passed through there. The chief knew that if the tribe wished to live, they would have to hunt this animal. That night a fire was lit. The hunters rubbed stones against each other to sharpen their points, broke wooden sticks and shaped them into spears. Some prepared heavy clubs to strike from close range. Sitting around the fire, they planned the hunt. The faint sobs of hungry children echoed in their ears, and they knew that tomorrow would decide between life and death. At dawn, 5 brave hunters set out. Mist hung over the land, and the sharp cries of birds rang out. Suddenly the ground began to tremble. A heavy sound rose, and the gigantic bison appeared. Its long, curved horns shone like lightning in the sunlight. In its eyes burned fury and wildness, and every breath sounded like a stormy roar. The hunters staggered for a moment, but hunger and the will to survive would not let them retreat. The chief gave a signal, and slowly they began to encircle the beast. One hunter let out a loud cry and hurled his spear with full strength. The spear sunk into the bison's shoulder. Wounded, the beast went wild, and with a furious roar, charged forward. With the powerful blow, it flung one hunter to the ground. The rest trembled, but the chief's shout gave them courage. 2 more spears pierced the bison's body. The smell of blood spread through the air. Red stains formed on the ground, yet the bison was still strong. Again and again it attacked, while the hunters tried to strike, saving their own lives. Many times their spears slipped from their hands. Many times they fell to the ground, but they did not give up. The battle raged for hours. At one moment the bison lifted a hunter high in the air with its great horns. Its screams shook their hearts, but retreat was no longer possible. The chief picked up a large stone from the ground and hurled it with full force at the bison's eye. For a moment the beast was blinded. This was the chance the hunters had been waiting for. 3 of them leapt at once, driving their clubs and spears into its throat. The bison roared, staggered, its feet striking the ground with thunder, and then it crashed down. A deep silence spread across the land. For a few moments the hunters stood stunned. Then tears of joy filled their eyes. This was their greatest victory. But the price was heavy. One companion had gone to sleep forever in the lap of the earth. The remaining hunters built large wooden frames, tied the bison upon them, and 4 men lifted it on their shoulders, heading towards the tribe. All along the way, vultures circled in the sky waiting for their chance, but the hunters knew that now this was their share of victory. When they entered the tribe, tears of joy shone in the eyes of women and children. Fires were lit, pieces of meat were cut. Children ran to sit around the flames, and for the first time their hungry stomachs were full. Women sang songs of gratitude. Men preserved not only the meat but also the hide and bones to make clothes, tools and weapons. They knew this was not just food for today, but provisions for survival in the coming days. That day's hunt was not only a means of gaining meat, but also a lesson. A lesson that survival is impossible without courage and sacrifice. A lesson that the true strength of humans lies in their intelligence and their unity. For Homo habilis, this moment was a great step in evolution. These very experiences and this very unity would later give humans victory over the terrifying beasts of the forests. And millions of years later, these same humans would become the rulers of the earth.